Ambassador, any progress that you can report to our audience? Is the deal getting closer? Let us know how that's going.
Well, then the Premier has pointed out that, the comment period for, in both of our countries for the public and businesses to reflect on how effective USMCA CUSMA has been, has kicked off now in both countries, which indicates that it appears the leadership, the negotiators are saying, the opportunity for a quick major deal, we've moved on to the next stage. It's going to be a long process of negotiation, of going through it, page by page, product by product, tariff level by tariff level. That's going to take a period of time. And that puts, I think the target date is to have those negotiations done by the summer of 2026. The governments are probably on both sides of the border are probably pretty well known, maybe to miss those kinds of targets. But the other thing that the Premier pointed out, that puts it smack dab in the middle of our midterm election, which will be in November of 26. So for an agreement like that, it has to be validated and confirmed by the U.S. Senate, and it's going to be hard to do that in an election season. So to get resolution on this, it could easily, if that's the path that we go down, it would not be unrealistic to see that pushed off into 2027, which means that at least in 11 out of the 13 of your provinces or territories, they're going to have to travel to Alberta to buy American wine, because, these provinces have indicated, even though you've got the best deal in the world, they are not going to move on tariffs on, American alcohol, the banning of those products until there is a wholesale deal. So some of the things that are real irritants to the U.S. are going to be in place throughout the negotiating process, and they will be in place until the agreement is ratified, which could be, a year and a half.
So Ambassador, you're referencing a little bit to some of the disappointment that you've expressed in the past with, a little bit of anti-American sentiment that you found, some of the things about the alcohol. I think it is worth pointing out that some Canadians do feel a little bit differently than they used to feel about our American friends. What would you say to Albertans and to Canadians who are saying that some of that is a response to, some of the comments that came from the administration?
Wouldn't deny it. Okay. But the beauty of this, of being in Alberta, is it's kind of like, yeah, some people may be offended, whatever. But hey, we're focused on business. Okay. We're focused on how we create jobs and prosperity for Albertans, and how we do that in a way that benefits Albertans and makes a good deal for the United States. We are forward, future looking. And we're really not that interested in litigating some issues which may be emotional. I recognize that, hey, I spent years in politics. Okay. So I understand how that works. And, in Alberta, it appears that, your government and your business people, they may recognize that and say, okay, that's the reality. That's the reality I work in. Okay. That in certain parts of Canada, the anti-American sentiment is greater than what I would like it to be. I am passionate about, this relationship and where it can go in the future. And I'm doing everything that I can to make that vision of the future become a reality, because I think it's very, very beneficial to Canadians and Americans. And if there are Canadians that have a different path to the future, or they see the future differently, that's their business. Okay. I can try to influence and change it, but I just factor that in as part of the reality that I have to work with. I don't make a value judgment on it. I just recognize, what exists.
Premier, do you think that there's anything in particular Canada needs to take off the table? You talked about softwood lumber. We've dealt with issues such as softwood lumber, supply management, other things like that. When you're meeting with the Prime Minister, what's your advice to him on which issues are absolutely vital and which ones can be left off the table.
Well, I've encouraged my counterparts to read the president's book, The Art of the Deal. I mean, one of the things that I took away from that is that when he goes into a negotiation, he's got a big, hairy, audacious goal of what he wants to achieve, and he puts the big goal on the table. But he also has a plan B and a plan C, all of which are a win, but they're just sort of different degrees of success. And I think we have to understand his negotiating style to see what kind of things we should put on the table. I mean, we're fighting over Kentucky bourbon and orange juice. And really what we should be talking about is how do we get big oil pipelines built to the U.S.? How do we shore up their backbone on natural gas so not only they can use that for export, but also to underpin the AI data centers they want to build? How do we work together on the issues of defense? We've got 4 bases in Alberta, in Wainwright, in Edmonton, in Cold Lake, in Suffield. What is the collaboration we can have to buy more American equipment and have more collaboration around NORAD and Arctic security and drones as we're building out our aspiration to be at 5% NATO target? The Americans just announced a plan for 10 1,200 megawatt nuclear plants for power. Well, guess where you can get uranium from a friendly neighbor in Saskatchewan? They already supplied 20% of the world's supply. We have critical minerals. We know that China has used that as a weapon against the United States for gallium, for antimony, and for other products, for germanium. We have all that. How can we provide a secure supply so that they don't have disruption in not only their technology space, but also their defense space? These are all the things that we need to be talking about in a big way instead of talking about orange juice and bourbon. That's what I think the big miss is that I think the president's style is misunderstood as an attack as opposed to a negotiating position. And so we need to kind of get away from the nitpicky little things and figure out the big deal. What's the big deal that he wants on the table? And how does that big deal benefit us? Because all the things I put on the table benefit every single province. They benefit every single territory. And that's where I wish our negotiating team would go.